Coach Heyward.
How we doing?
Good.
You guys hear me all right?
We hear you great. You ready for some questions?
Yeah.
All right. We're going to start with James Crippia from the Oregonian.
Hey, Keith. Was speaking with Vernon earlier, and he was talking about obviously that nickel and field are interchangeable positions, and he doesn't have a preference. Where do you see him? Not just him, I guess, the rest of the field safeties and Jamal obviously also in the mix at nickel. What do you see as the pecking order? Where do you imagine it could be in 3-4 weeks?
Wow. So right now, he's our starting free safety, but yeah, Verone has that versatility where, if at need be at any point, he's smart within our scheme. He can play the nickel position. Jamal is currently there with our starting group. And like anything, we're trying to build dependable depth, so having guys, play certain positions and then moving them around, not just depth, but like we said, dependable depth. So where are we going to end up on game one? I couldn't tell you that. We still got a long way to go and a lot of installs. And so we're just trying to make sure that we just develop them, fundamentally and not put too much on their plate so they can just really execute the technique and fundamentals.
The next question is from Ryan Thorburn with the Register Guard.
Keith,
take this off. I'm good. Take this
how are you doing? First of all, good to see you.
I'm doing well. Thank you, Ryan.
What were your conversations kind of like with Javon and Brady and the opt-out guys during this whole process? I know it was, a tough time with not knowing if there was going to be a season or when there was going to be a season. And do you feel like, if they made the right decision that you guys have stocked enough talent that you're ready to roll after the aftermath of their decisions?
Yeah, just as a staff, we were just trying to keep just our entire team engaged because a lot of things were out of our hands. So just making sure that we stay on the guys and keep them motivated. And they were, the guys wanted to play ball. I fully support the decisions that they made. I'm definitely going to miss those guys. I mean, Javon, Brady, they played some tremendous ball for us, made a lot of great plays. I wanted those guys to stay, but had to support them on their dreams, and I still do. And I think we have, guys here, like I just said, we're trying to build dependable depth. We're putting guys in positions and placing them out there. So you got, Nick Pickett and Steve, out there battling it out right now in the boundary. And then like we talked about before, there's Jamal, there's Verone who could play the nickel. Then there's, Bennett who we're grooming. So at the end of the day, I feel confident in, our coaching abilities, and I feel confident in these guys and their work ethic and how they study and how they train.
Next question is from Max Torres from Scoop Duck.
Hey there, Coach. I want to talk about Javon Holland a little bit. Obviously the pandemic kind of changed the landscape of everything with having a season or not having a season. What's it mean to you as the safeties coach and to this program to have a guy like him come in and start early and, work to be draft eligible as a first, second round guy in just 2 years?
Yeah, I mean, this is just a tremendous it's just tremendous for him. Just, I thank him and his family the trust, that they put in myself and then put in our, coaches for allowing their son to come here, him having the trust for me to develop him in the defense. But he's done a great job. He was on it in the classroom, never had any issues there. I mean, obviously, everybody sees his play on the field. It's hats off, and I was blessed enough to be the coach to actually coach him. So I'm thankful for him, for that. And I wish him much continued success. So, I just can't say enough about him. I still wish he was here, but it's all good. He's going to do well. He's a bright, young man.
Next up, Tyson Alger with The Athletic.
Hey, Keith, there's been, obviously a lot of the focus has been on like how the players are going to be able to get ready in the amount of time and just like what they weren't able to do over the off season. But just like from like a straight coaching perspective, like what's the biggest challenge for you right now with kind of like new conditions and just like what you guys are facing and just an overall different year?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say with Coach Cristobal, Coach Feld, they've come out with a great plan. Because what you see and you watch NFL, you're seeing a lot of injuries, and the one thing you have to do is you have to make sure that you're training the guys to get them ready to play game one. But at the same time, you're not doing anything to put them in harm's way. You got to watch their loads as far as how much running they're getting. Make sure you as us coaches, we're conscious of the drills that we're doing, and then scheme wise, what plays are we doing to make sure we're building great habits like running to the ball, drilling in those techniques and fundamentals. Big thing you see on college football right now is a lot of missed tackling, so things just like that, just a mentality, of how we play and the product that we want to put on field and keep growing as a defense. So you just have to take in all of that, and, everybody's affected by the circumstances. It's just how are you going to come out on the other end to make sure that you prepare your players the best so that way on game one they're ready to roll.
Next up, Matt Preem from 247 Sports.
Hey, Keith. What's your thoughts on where Steve Stevens has been since the end of last year till now? Feels like this could be a pretty big opportunity for him to really get some playing time that he didn't have the last 2 years. And I guess my second question is what led to you guys bringing in Jordan Happel as well? What does he bring to your unit?
Yeah, I'm excited for Steve, because Steve has grown tremendously. And, he's been asking a lot of questions. Our boundary safeties make a lot of tackles and make a lot of plays within the scheme, just naturally because of the positions that they're put in and fitting a lot of runs. And he's been asking a lot of questions about the front and how he fits, so knowing the gaps. And Steve has always been a high football IQ guy and smart player. So I'm just really excited to see when we actually get out there on the grass or on the turf, what he does underneath the lights. In terms of Jordan, what he brings is he's a guy who's been in Coach Avalos's scheme. So first practice out there, we always talk about how we got to communicate. Well, he was communicating. He was loud. He was vocal. He knew exactly what he needed to do and how he needed to say it, calling out the pre-snap stuff. I mean, that was impressive. And I know some other guys had eyebrows raised like, oh, okay. So he definitely raised the competition level in the room.
Next up, Kevin Wade from 247 Sports.
Hey, Coach. Just curious about Daywood Davis. Has been bouncing back and forth between offense and defense. What's that been like for his development, and then what does he bring to the defensive backfield?
Yeah, Daywood has been a ultimate team guy. He's been a guy, like you said, he was at receiver and then now is at a corner. Went back and now he's back again. And we always say like the more you can do, the value that you have on the team, you just want to show that the more you can do. So for his development, I think Coach Chance is doing a great job, out there on the field, coaching Daywood as far as like what he needs to do technically. And Daywood is a smart kid. He knows football. It's just more about refining his techniques and stuff. I'm sorry, what was another part of your question, Kevin?
You answered it. Thank you very much.
Okay. Yeah, but Daywood is he's just a selfless man. He's a team guy, and I'm excited for him. What does he bring? There we go. That was the other one. What does he bring? Man, Daywood is fast, and even though with his receiver background, man, he's tough. Like he'll come in there and tackle. I think he's gonna have a great year on special teams too, because, like I said, he could tackle. He's fast, running out there on punt or kickoff. He's gonna be somebody that's gonna be fun to watch when he gets out there.
Next question's from James Crippia of the Oregonian.
Keith, just wanted to see where's Quez and Dante, where are they lining up? Is one field, one boundary, or which I know they're both a corner, but which side who's on which side basically?
Triquez?
Yeah.
Triquez has been in the boundary, and Dante, I think, has been playing He's been playing some boundary as well, I believe. I'll be honest with you. I've been staring at these safeties and nickels a whole lot more. So, but I think I'm pretty certain with that.
Next question, Ryan Thorburn from the Register Guard.
Kind of along those lines, what has your communication been like with Rod Chance, your chemistry with him since he rejoined the program? And, you know, with Andy being in his second year, is there a more sense of even more comfort in the defense for the players and the staff?
Yeah, man, Rod's my guy, you know. So Rod and I had a previous relationship before he came last time as an analyst. And I mean, no matter who it is, but you know, we're gonna work well in the defensive back end. But you know, Rod and I work well together. You know, always have dialogue about what's the best way, how we're gonna play things. I mean, Coach Avalos is in on those conversations too. You know, it's just our job as professionals to make sure, you know, we're teaching it the right way. We're doing whatever's best for the players so they can execute the fastest. And I think in a second year in the defense, I mean, at least from my perspective in the safety room, you know, it's been really good. And actually, if I look at it as the whole picture, you know, guys have been moving around a whole lot faster where they know the defense, you know, and it just comes down to us just teaching the concepts more so, because once you learn the concepts that we want to play, you can mix and match those and make any type of defense that you want. So I think the kids understand that. And, you know, that's what I think is going to help us play faster. But we're always preaching, you know, technique, fundamentals, being in the operation, you know, and just being in our mentality, stay humble and hungry.
Next up, Tyson Alger from The Athletic.
I asked Verone earlier today just about like some of the weekend Twitter analysis he's been doing with, you know, college football and the NFL. And I mean, obviously this is something that he geeks out on a bit. Just what's he like in the film room with you guys, and is it like similar sort of thing? And you know, he was saying that he would like to maybe play free safety just because it feels like he's the quarterback of the defense there, and just what's his next step kind of with that sort of thing?
I mean, well, he's playing free safety, so he is the quarterback of the defense. I mean, all of the safeties and the nickels, right? We're in charge of it. You know, we're communicating, we're making the checks, operating within the pre-snap if we have, you know, movers and stuff like that. So in that sense, he is. But, I mean, he's a high football IQ, you know, kid. You know, he knows ball. His dad was a coach, or is a coach, I should say. And, you know, Verone's over it. So he's always attention to detail, you know, into it in the meetings, you know, paying attention, knows multiple positions. And I think that's what helps him with his versatility, is just that he's a football kid. Like he cares. He has a high care factor. So I guess that kind of lends to, you know, his commentating and stuff that he does on social media. I've seen a couple of those. He's pretty funny.
Next up would be Matt Preem from 247 Sports.
Keith, spring ball and early parts of camp allows you guys opportunities to experiment with guys and positions and move stuff around and scheme and stuff. Do you still do that with limited time and no spring ball, or is it full go of just getting ready for a season and worrying about trying guys in new spots next year?
I mean, we always gotta put the best players on the field, and the way that this whole thing is going right now, you know, you just gotta be open-minded to, you know, unfortunately, if anything ever happens where a kid has to sit out for some time because of the virus, you know, you gotta be ready to plug somebody in. So I just think that as far as our teaching or how we teach, you know, we're always teaching in a way that where if we have to move somebody, we think about those plans all the time. And we've been thinking about that as a staff, you know. Unfortunately, if somebody ends up getting sick or even getting hurt, you know, you got to put the next best person in there to be able to play and execute. So, you know, we've had a little bit of time there when we were doing some of the walkthroughs early on, and then we took that break and we came back and got right back into it. But you know, at least the way that I think all the coaches do, we teach in the room, we're teaching concepts. So that way, if somebody got to move inside or outside, you know, we can have the best players on the field.
Next up, James Crippia again from the Oregonian.
Keith, wanted to ask you generally about recruiting for the last 7 months here without visits. I know you can't speak specific players, but just the general practice of this, how you and the rest of the staff have been able to do this successfully, despite the fact that overwhelmingly this class has not been able to visit and won't be able to visit before signing in December.
Yeah, I think we've all schools have been doing this. We've been on it, and I know we're very aggressive in terms of how we recruit. With Coach Cristobal, but doing those virtual tours and then building relationships, with the young men, building relationships with the families, and just staying in constant communication. I mean, it's our job to be able to show them in the best way that we can on these virtual tours of like what the facilities look like, spend time with them, not just on the phone and texting. You have access to Zoom, which we all discovered. So you can Zoom them and take them through like the buildings and take them through campus or whatever you have on online. And we're going to stay relentless. That's just what we do. It's about the engine in the car. So we put them good players out there on the field. You got to recruit them.
Last question. Tyson Alger from The Athletic.
This is a little kind of open-ended, but just as someone who's been coaching in this conference for 11, 12 years or whatever it is at this point, obviously none of this COVID stuff's ideal, but just like from a curiosity factor, just like what do you think this season's going to look like? I mean, there's got to be some part of you that's like, this is going to be different at the very least compared to what you've experienced in the past.
It's going to be definitely different for everybody, but when you come down, it comes to a game. I mean, it's going to be your 11 guys on the field versus their 11 guys. It's still 100 yards, of field. Maybe they turn on some, watching some of those games, they turn on some of that fake crowd noise and all that. And you just got to go out there and just play, So, yeah, it's going to be different, but everybody's going through the same thing. So it's not going to be any different for us. Just excited to get the opportunity to play ball, excited for our players. They worked very, very hard. We've all been through a lot with all the different things going on, but I'm just happy for our guys. Because like I said, they want to play ball, and they've been busting their butt in the weight room and busting their butt out there on the field. And then we get to go out there and, they get to do what they love. We get to coach and do what we love. They get to play, and hopefully everybody stays safe.
Thanks, Coach Heyward. Appreciate your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you. You guys be safe. Go Ducks.